Just a little word on gussets. When you're gluing, in this case, the horizontal stabilizer together, you've got the main leading edge here. You've got these bracing going to the rear leading edge. Another bracing here. This will be for tail braces. Hole for tail brace attach. So you want a little beefiness in there just to attach the brace for the tail. But all these are butt joints and they're just glued together. By putting a gusset on there, now you're locking all those together with one piece of material. And what I do is I just router out a 1/16 of an inch, so this actually fits right down inside that joint, and it'll lock it mechanically because it's inside it, and then it's also glued in there. So that'll be a good strong joint attaching all of these parts together with more than just a butt joint. It would be interesting to see if anyone who has any joinery experience, if you put like a dovetail in there and whatever in here, and you could put a couple biscuits in there or something to really lock those into place rather than just the butt joints. But the gusset over top will hold that all together. All right, one little tip when you're routering out the gussets, I just take a utility knife and score the line that you're going to cut. And this one is not as important, but on one where you have a corner, then the corner has a nice square edge made by the utility knife, and then when you go and router it, it'll come out square. You can just dig the last part out with the chisel, but this one's just like that. So this one's got two corners, one sharp corner here and a corners here and here. So I'll just take my utility knife and run it along there. Just score it. Then we've got this little bit right here. since it's already scored, it just peels right off of there. I've got a smaller chisel that could get used to get in there, but this should work fine. There, just like that. Now when you're routering out a big one, the router is going to come over here and it's going to fall off the edge and it's going to not be level. So I just use a scrap of the 1/16, keep it in there, keep the router side on one, keep the router side on another, and you can move this along as you're going along, so the router bit is always taking out here. And it's got a 16th on one side and it's got a 16th on another side, and that way you get a smoother surface all the way across, because you've got a router here and the router here and the bit in the middle when you go across. If you go too far, that router is going to start tilting as you come across. Just another little tip as we're going along. When I'm gluing up that surface, I'll put the glue on one side and I'll smooth it over that whole area with just the popsicle stick. It gets it nice and level, gets it in all the valleys. I'll put a good thick layer on there and let it sit for a second, and it all fills out. It's too hard to put it on both sides, to put on there and put on there. So then I just take that, put it on there. If you move it around a bit, lift it off, and then put it back on. That'll get the glue on both sides of that piece of wood, and she'll be stuck. And you can feel the stiction when you go to lift it off, and you can see that it is going from the one to the other. So instead of doing both sides, I'll do one side, get a good thick layer, put it on, rub it around, pull it back off, and then set it on there. And lots of times that's going to help with areas like this, for example. I wouldn't know where to put it on here, and I wouldn't want to put it over the whole one. So you put it over here, and when you put that on over top, the glue's only going to be where it needs to be. Same thing, just pull it off, put it back on, and that'll get it stuck to both subjects, and it'll get it just where it needs to go and not where it doesn't need to go. Okay, I'm on to the elevator. This detail right here, I've heard that the elevator horn puts more pressure on one side than the other side, and there's some twist in there. So I'm going to beef this area up a little bit. I don't have 3/4. I went a little more than 3/4 when I was planing it down. So it's just slightly more than 3/4 each of those. So that's going to add more beef here. And I went a little longer with this one ends here and here, and I went a little longer, a couple inches longer on each side, to spread that all the way across, so you're not going to get that twisting motion in there. So hopefully with that little bit of beef on there, if it's a little out here, I might have to take it and just get this back to where it is so that the rudder will fit in there. And we'll have to see how far it sits out. It's only going to sit out about 1/4, but that might interfere with the rudder, so we'll have to watch that and how it fits in there. I can always take out a little bit more there. I'm going to add a little bit more of a filler piece here and the gusset to across there just to beef that up. Same on the other side there. And hopefully that'll get rid of any flex that's in the elevator. And I'm just starting to cut up the pieces for that. On here I was looking the DHT10 gusset on each side. So that makes sense all the way down there. But here it says a DH10 gusset bottom only. 1.5 inches by 16. So that's this line here. And this line here, I don't know why it would only stop there on the bottom and why it wouldn't go right to the end of where the block is on the thing. If anyone has an answer for that, I'm just going to put it all the way down. And like my previous ones, I'm going to inset them right into the block.